Hi, Coach Mo here, ready for another fabulous installment of Motivational Monday. This week, I'm tackling why women are still not ahead all week long. So if you're tuning in live, today is the first episode. Are women too emotional? Is what I'm tackling today. And then as we go into the series, so for the next 5 days, today, are women too emotional? Tomorrow, does success mean no balance or family time? Myth number 3, I'm tackling in Wednesday. Am I too old to work that hard? The next myth, should women be getting paid less? Or are they getting paid less or are they not? And then the fifth myth, do women have to be like men to succeed? So I'm tackling all of these myths. Why am I tackling these myths? Because I got to say to you, as I talk to thousands of women throughout the year, and over 5,000 women I've spoken to on career clarity calls in the time I've been doing this work over the past 5 years, there's some themes that emerge. And please give me a little comment if you're here. Am I on? Am I not on? Oops, there I am. I don't know what happened. I just lost my page. So anyway, let me know if you're here. Comment. Thank you, Tanya. I was in a different window that didn't seem like it was live. So sorry for that little technical glitch. Here I am back. Never know when the camera's running or not, but it certainly seemed like that other window wasn't working. So here I am, Coach Mo, here for Motivational Monday. I'm covering the 5 big myths of why women are still not ahead. And today I'm tackling, are women too emotional? Oh, if I hear this myth again, I don't know what I'm going to do. I want to explain why this is a myth for women in the world. It's not just a career issue. It's a world issue. It's a bias that women have for centuries, actually. And I'm going to explain it today. I know I'm tackling something big and centuries old, but we women have to claim our power and get a hold of what we're capable in this world. And we have to bust myths, because enough already. Enough already. Women deserve to have high level places at the table. We deserve to have high level contributions, opinions. We deserve to be leading companies, teams, countries, initiatives, etc. And yes, things have gotten better over the last, well, every year it gets a little bit better. We're more represented now in the US government than ever. And so there's movement we're making. But frankly, I talk to women live every single day, every week, by the dozens, by the hundreds per month, by the thousands per year. And there's still prevailing problems with what women are saying to themselves and what they're buying into in their career and lives. And it starts at a very young age. So today I'm going to start at the very beginning of why this women problem even exists. And it has to do with, wait, I brought some friends along with me, and feel free, please, to comment and let me know that you're here. I'd love to know who's here, and certainly feel free to ask a question. I'd love to hear your questions and answer them as we go along. So today we're talking about, are women too emotional? Enter baby Cutie. Do you remember baby Cutie? I bet you had one. I haven't taken her out of the box because I think she's a little bit defective, because she's supposed to, let me see if I can get her. She's supposed to kick and giggle. I'm not getting the kicks. So I don't know. Baby Cutie. Do you know what you've done to hundreds, millions of women? Here's the other thing that's so perfect about Baby Cutie. Look at that perfect little girl taking care of her Baby Cutie with words like perfectly cute and try me, my tummy, I giggle and kick, and baby giggles and coos. My pacifier calms me down, and so forth. So, little girl toy. Little boy toy. Look at this. Slammin Racers. Yeah. Slammin Racers. You know what this packaging says? Slam powered. It says get in the race. Yeah. And boys get to push stuff and make kick-ass noises. Yeah. This starts at a very young age. And if you've raised kids, or if you were raised as a kid, which all of us were, you probably participated in some gender bias of toys. Why does this happen? Well, because predominantly women, girls in particular, we are living in an estrogen-laden brain and body at a very young age. And it changes our brain relative to the boys in our lives. So this very unique chemical situation when we're young enhances the brain in areas about communication, connection, and language. Boys don't have that. So we want, as little girls, to have connection and babies, and we want to do good chores for our mothers and fathers and be helpful. I'm not saying boys aren't helpful, but I'm making broad generalizations today to make a few key points that are necessary. If you're a woman with a career, you have to pay attention to what I'm talking about, because you're living in your work life in an environment that is largely created by boys who were raised with trucks and games and balls and getting stuff accomplished and fighting on the playground and not having emotional responses or meaning associated long term. And one of the things that happens differently, not only just the baby doll versus the truck, but there's so much socialization and conditioning between the ages of 0 and 7. Everything that occurs in the environment in which you're living is basically programmed into what you are taught that the world is all about. So from 0 to 7, you are hardwired for what the world looks like and what's expected of you. Hardwired. Everything from 0 to 7 is given to you like fact. Fact. This is who you need to be. This is how the world is. I still remember a story that my mother tells me that I remember a piece of it. I remember being bound and determined in 2nd grade to get straight A's. Like, I just wanted straight A's. I wanted straight A's. I wanted to do straight A's. I wanted to get straight A's. I was bound and determined. Well, guess what? I got straight A's. So I ran home as fast as I could in my yellow slicker. It was pouring rain, boots sloshing. I'm running home. I did it. 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 I was so happy that I did it. And I got great recognition from my mom and probably my dad, but I remember my mom being home when I got home, and it felt really great to get that recognition. So what do you think I'm programmed for to get love and recognition? Straight A's, good grades. It's part of how I'm going to get recognized by my parents. So naturally, I'm conditioned for better grades and great grades. Now, I also played sports, musical instruments. I had accomplishments there as well. But I got to tell you, the hardwiring was on that straight A report card. And I may have gotten straight A's a couple of other times, but I was always going after those great report cards and those great scores. And I accomplished great things as a young student and National Honor Society, et cetera. It was something that was hardwired in me. Do good, get recognized. And I got to say, I'm not the only woman who's been hardwired that way. And there are boys that are hardwired that way as well. Here's the difference. Women, young girls, have a higher value of personal connection generally than boys and men do. Boys and men are really wired differently. Usually it's for recognition and feeling a sense of different, like they want to be known for something. So men and boys are wired for those types of things, and girls are typically accomplishment around connection. So naturally, what we're doing at work is about pleasing and taking care of our teams and working hard and being loyal. That's how we crave connection. And then what happens is that's kind of nose to the grindstone, kind of keep your head out of trouble type of hard work gets you recognized. Not so much. Not usually after the first 10 or 15 years of your career. After that point, the worker component of being successful is usually done, and now we're managing and directing teams. So what happens at the next level of our careers is not the same game that got us the work hard and get appreciated for hard work. When you are after the first decade or 15 years of your career, it's no longer about working hard. It's about influence. It's about improvement. It's about outcomes. And working hard doesn't matter as much. But here's the thing. Your rule book says working hard. Your rule book says don't be too greedy. Don't be too bossy. Don't want stuff that's going to sacrifice others. Girls and women are taught to take care of other people around the table, to make sure everyone else is fed before you get your serving and your helping, and to make sure everyone feels good. And loyalty is about this high on most women's value systems. Loyalty, loyalty, loyalty. Generally speaking, men will quit a job that doesn't suit their interest, isn't paid high enough, and doesn't feel right. They're going to quit and move on, or they're going to move on and then quit. Women typically hang in there to prove something, to make the connection, because, well, I like my coworkers. I just got off the phone with a woman, delightful, well-educated woman, and she hung into a job where she was making $30,000 to $50,000 less than she could be in the marketplace. She hung in there because she wanted to prove that she was right. She wanted to prove that she knew what she was doing. She wanted to prove that she was better than they thought. She wanted to prove something and get the connection, because women, that's what we crave. Men crave their outcome and getting their paycheck. That's what men go after. That's how they're wired, primitively wired, hunters and gatherers. Women, we're creating a more comfortable family and nest environment. That's what women are primitively wired for. We can't ignore the primitive wiring that may predominate how we are and how we show up in the world. All of our socialization and programming then is layered on top of that. So by the time we're in our 20s and 30s, much less 40s and 50s, we have played that out. And meanwhile, what's happened is that typically our career has not evolved as fast as others, is not as evolved as fast as most men in the workplace. And then we're left behind with a power gap and a pay gap. And that doesn't feel too good. And then we wonder, why have I not gotten mine? Part of the problem is that you are wired for something different, and you have to overcome that wiring, and you have to play a different game. Not to be inauthentic with who you are. No, 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 no. Do not misunderstand me. In order to play the game well, and it is a game, I must say, not a game like a charade, not a game like it doesn't matter, but it's a game that does matter. It's a game that you really want to win at and contribute at a high level. So you have to learn the rules of the game, and you have to get the basics right. Just like if you were playing basketball. If you didn't know how to dribble or shoot a free throw or a layup, you wouldn't be any good at basketball. But you're playing basketball, so you got to handle the basics. Well, I don't need to dribble. I'm only interested in playing defense. That's not going to work. Oh, I don't need to do layups because, I'm going to be on the outside of the basketball area and I know I don't need to do that. It's not going to work. If you don't know the basics of the game you're playing at work, and there's a game that's specific to your environment and your culture and your team, not going there today. In general, the game of work entails certain rules, and you need to switch from being a typical female, conditioned and programmed to play with her. Look, even I had baby dolls, and I was very interested in sports. I was a tomboy, but I even had baby dolls because I have estrogen. And so I was wired to take care. And I went into nursing. Why? Because I like taking care of people. I like making things better for people. That's what women do. We do it really well. But when it's overplayed in the work environment, we miss out. We miss out. So the question I have for today, are women too emotional? The problem is that we wait because we don't want to be seen as bossy, in charge, too smart, or greedy, or any of that stuff, or disloyal. We don't want to be seen as that because we crave connection. We want connection with our boss, our coworkers, our peers, our team. We want that more than almost anything else. So we will sacrifice pay, prestige, influence, title to satisfy the connections that we get at work. This is why we underperform. And when we're craving connection, we will do almost anything to keep that connection. Psychological studies have been done for decades about this, and they see little boys and girls on playgrounds at the age of 2, 3, and 4 playing this out all the time. A little girl will give her toy to a boy or another girl so that she feels that they're going to be her friend, even if that toy is taken away from her and she's heartbroken over it. Whereas typically a boy will grab a toy he wants to play with regardless of how the other person feels. Why? Because boys don't have the craving for connection, and they don't have the acuity of making those connections and really caring about how people feel. It may come across as unfeeling, unkind, or whatever, but boys are just wired differently. And again, asterisks here, I'm making grand generalizations to make a point because this is mostly what I see in the women who I talk to and the clients I coach in my workshop. Predominantly women are playing the game predominated by their conditioning and their social and neurological wiring based on being women. And men are playing it exactly how men are wired and socially conditioned. And the two are somewhat not compatible. So in order for women to be successful in the marketplace, we have to navigate this primitive instinct, desire, conditioning, and programming and play to our soul's strength and be powerful within who we are. And we need not to have those aspects of what women have for millennia needed to be and do. We need not to let that predominate, because as a productive person in the work world, there's a different rule book, at least for now. Okay? So for now, women have to be powerful influencers, impact players, communicators, and we have to proceed within our own compass. I talk about this on my webinar. If you haven't seen my webinar, please go. There's probably a link below here for my 5 steps to landing your dream job. I talk about having your own GPS, and it is so important. Most women, I'm going to talk about this all week long, all of these sessions. Most women have a reference point of other people making decisions for them, other people influencing how they feel about themselves, other people influencing their career and their career moves. Most women allow other people to dominate their decision making. And it's why so many careers are lagging behind. So as women, we need to step into our power. And so getting back to my question, are women too emotional? The reason why we are is because we wait and hold back so that we don't upset anyone. with our opinion, our ideas, our advice, our guidance. We wait way too long. So by the time we're ready to share it or we have had enough, we just basically blow through our emotions and seem like we're out of control. And since we hold back and keep it all in for too long, we can't help but to have an emotional or more emotional outburst when we share our ideas, opinions, and guidance about something, because we have not done it in the proactive, meaningful, and powerful way that is required to be an influencer in the work world. Again, these are the problems I see with the women I talk to on our career clarity calls. Not to dissuade you, just the opposite. If you haven't had a career clarity call with us, book your time now so that we can help you get to the truth of why your career is not working for you. Your career is largely not working for you because you're in the wrong playbook. You're playing the wrong sport, and the conditioning and the programming that you have gotten all your life long is not congruent with how to be successful in the work world. It doesn't mean you can't be congruent. It just means that the rule book that you were given and encoded does not work well in the work world for you. You have to circumvent and transcend the way that women were traditionally programmed and conditioned to be successful in the work world. And if you do not do that, you will risk being seen as being too emotional because you'll wait too long to share. And by that point, it'll just be too much of a pent-up emotion. Number two, you will lag behind in title and pay. And number three, because of that, you will be lagging way behind in power. And if you spend your first 15 or 20 years in your career lagging behind, you may have too much behindness to really make up for. It's always correctable. But if you have a lot of that backlog, you're going to have to move quickly to catch up. And it's catch-upable, it's doable, it's fixable, but you've got to do something about it now. Because women have got to be gaining strides in compensation, title, power, influence, and impact in the corporate world. It is essential that where we are with the human dynamic on the planet, that women take a higher level of influence in the world in general and in specific in organizations. It is imperative that we bring who we are into the mix at the highest levels possible. Women do not have to be mini men to be successful. That's a myth I'll be covering later in this series. But today, I want to make sure that I have laid the foundation for why women are lagging behind in power and pay, and why women are perceived as emotional in the workplace, because we are pinning ourselves up so as not to disrupt or break connection with anyone in our work world, because we were conditioned and programmed as a young girl for connection and the importance of taking care of others. When that runs amok, when it is the predominant thing in our world and in our lives, we are going to be behind in power and pay. I want you to really understand that, ladies, and I want to make sure that this is something that you can navigate going forward. And certainly a lot of you women who are here on my series, on my Motivational Monday, we've worked together, you understand that this has to get fixed. Now, here's the thing. I have a 12-week workshop, and we cover a lot of ground, and we make a lot of headway. And there's a lot of strategies and tactics and coaching and transformation that you're going to go through. But as you ladies know, it's an ongoing journey to switch off and to switch on something new after 40 and 50, maybe even more years of conditioning and programming. It's a different game for us women, and we have to play. We can play it well, but we have to switch things up. We can't be necessarily bringing our natural programming conditioning. Let me read some of the comments that have come through, and please feel free to ask your questions on this very important and potentially politically rife conversation that I'm going to have all week long. I'm going into the marrow of why women are still lagging behind in power and pay. And I want to do it because it's important to get the dialogue out there. It's important for women to understand what's really going on. You don't just get ahead because you're a nice person working hard. As a matter of fact, that is the fastest way for you to get locked into not moving ahead. So we have a comment. Wow, I can relate. I'm really staying now to prove that I can do it. And if I leave, it's their loss, but I'm the only one who is losing after all. That is so true. You are not going to prove anything to anyone without having a strategy and a game plan and an ask. See, here's the thing. Women will work hard for years and years and years. Men will work hard for a shorter period of time, and they'll make an ask. Oh, since I've been doing this project for a year and been contributing, I think I deserve a promotion. I deserve more money. They'll make the ask because they were taught on the playground to make the ask, to pick the kid that they wanted on their team. Girls are going to pick the kid that they feel bad for. And, oh, you know, I'll pick Sally. Yeah, I'll pick her on my team. It doesn't matter. Yeah. So our ability to make deep connections and want deep connections with people is exactly the thing we need to circumvent. Now, it's a superpower in many ways, but when it holds us back from power and pay, it is a deterrent for us. And we need to know when to play which card. Here's another comment. I'm changing and growing every day. Absolutely. Question. Does lack of commitment hold us back? Lack of commitment. So perhaps, Debbie, thanks for the question. Are you asking about, are you thinking that women don't have a certain level of commitment to their careers or to moving forward? But certainly no matter what you're doing, if you don't have a high level of commitment to doing it, you're not going to follow through and you're not going to go through difficult times. Massive commitment means that you're going to have the ability to work through massive difficulties. They're going to come along. I mean, marriage is probably the best example we can use here. If you're married and you have, you know, the family at a wedding and signed papers and a house together and tax returns and all of that commitment stuff, you're going to go through the difficult times together, more than likely. If you don't have all of that, more than likely you're not as tied to working through difficulties, and you'll feel more easily ready to move on from something. So personal commitment wise, absolutely. And Debbie says yes to both. So I think sometimes women aren't as committed to their careers because, again, of social programming. But if we look at what a career can bring to us, we'll ratchet up the commitment. Again, perhaps our social conditioning doesn't put it as the top priority. So many women choose family thinking they have to sacrifice career. And that's not really a negotiation that you have to make with yourself. Are you going to have to perhaps do different things and navigate different things if you choose to have children? Of course. But it doesn't mean that you're going to have to give up on the commitment to your career. There's plenty of working women, mothers, who have exceeded high levels of success, power, influence, pay, contribution. They've led teams and companies and organizations, even though they had children or have children. So it doesn't mean that you have to sacrifice your family for having a big successful career. I'm talking about that later in this series. Matter of fact, that might be my session number 2. But here's the thing. Women are conditioned not to care as much about their careers. But let's do some math and let's think about this. In today's economic environment in 2019, that's where we are today, 11 years after the Great Recession of 2008, 2009, women are predominantly the breadwinners in families in the US. It's probably somewhat similar across Europe, although I haven't studied it as well in Europe as I have the economic data in the US. So we are more the breadwinners than we ever were before after the recession. And women, earners, if you do the math, let's just say that we work 45 years in our career. So 45 years of earning potential. If we underperform, that could mean $20,000 to $50,000 difference per year in underperforming. Let's say that our first 5 years, we're totally rocking it. So maybe 40 years of underperforming. If you just do $50,000 of underperformance for 40 years, or let's say 20, that's between an $800,000 and $2 million difference. If we underperform for 40 years, between $20,000 and $50,000 a year, underperforming at that level. So most college educated folks should be making around $80K by the time of 40. And certainly there's much more to be made after that, and even before that. But let's just use that number. So if we're underperforming at that, means we were making like 60. And then 80K obviously goes up in our 40s to the hundreds, 120, 150, 200, etc. That's a big amount of money for a family or a person to not have in their pocket. $800,000 to $2 million underperforming as a basic average, given that an underperforming women's career is $20,000 to $50,000 less per year. How many houses can we buy in Atlanta, Debbie Grant, for $800,000? How many houses, how many futures can we buy for $2 million? That's not total earnings. That's the difference. That is the difference of having a performing career or an underperforming career. So my shout out to all women, commit to your careers. It is the best paying asset you will ever have. The best paying asset you will ever have is your career. And for those of you who have a fantasy, an idea possibly about having your own business, that's a nice idea. I'll tell you what, it's not for everyone. And it is a very unusual demand that you're going to have on yourself. So truthfully, the best bet at earning and gaining money for yourself is to work within an organization that you feel loved, appreciated, and contributing at a high level, and to move yourself strategically forward. No one's going to move you forward for you. You own your career, ladies. And this is another thing that men have on top of us, because they have learned at a very young age that they're in charge of their destiny. Again, the childhood toys, get them in the race. Slam powered, movement. Boys learn movement, aggression, loud noises. Now we got to temper some of that, clearly, obviously, but that's their predominant programming. Women's predominant programming. Let me take care of the baby. Let me take care of the underperforming team. Let me take care of all the people who need to be taken care of, and I'll sacrifice myself for it. Does this baby look happy? No, this baby does not look happy. I'm going to be hanging out with this baby, rockabye baby, and the world's going to pass me by. So I want to implore upon all of my beautiful women in my audience and in my tribe, we've got work to do, ladies. We've got work to do. And the work to do is that it's up to you to take control of your career. It is up to you, thank you, Debbie Grant, for the comment, to make the commitment for yourself that you're going to be a contributor at the highest level you can get to, because you're going to be making a big difference in your paycheck, in your future. And when you're committed to your career, you get to commit to your family at a higher level, better vacations, better cars, better houses, better groceries, eating better food, better mattress, sleeping better. All sorts of things get better when you make more money. I'm tackling the family life balance problem on another session, so we'll talk about that. Tune in. Here's the thing. I'm going to be conducting these sessions over this week on the closed Facebook page, Bring Your Soul to Work. We're going to post the link for you to join that Facebook group if you're not already there. This Motivational Monday is on my standard Coach Mo Facebook page. If you're listening to this podcast, thanks for tuning in on the podcast level. But the rest of the series will be available live on my Bring Your Soul to Work Facebook page. It's a closed group. You have to join. You have to be admitted for participation there. And please turn on the notifications so that each day this week at 5 p.m. Eastern Time, you will get the notification to come to that next Facebook Live. All week, I'm covering the myths that are stopping women from getting ahead or getting further ahead in the work world. You deserve to have a fruitful, thriving soul and career. And when you have that combination going, you're not going to sacrifice the things that are important to you. You're going to enhance them. So stop playing games with yourself, the mind games of success, meaning that it's going to be a disaster at home. There's more women who are disasters at home because their career is underperforming and they're not making the money that they need or want or could be making. The rest of your life works so much better when you have a better job. Let me repeat that about 5 times. The rest of your life works so much better when you have a better job. You're happier, you're contributing more at the level that you're meant to, you're making more money, and you're feeling better about who you are and what you're all about in this world. Of course, everyone who's close to you is going to feel better too. Of course, you're going to be adding more money to your family and to the things that you can do. And of course, you're going to be a better wife, mother, friend, daughter, sister, etc. If you're miserable at work, you're miserable to everyone who cares about you. I don't care what kind of a great actor you are. If you're miserable at work, you're miserable to everyone in your life. Stop doing that. Women are emotional to the degree that we are criticized for it because we hold ourselves back and we have pent up emotion that gets the best of us after a while. Do not conduct yourself that way, or you will be adding to the myth that women are too emotional to be successful, to be powerful, to be paid better, to be in bigger meetings, etc. Don't be the woman who bottles herself up and only blows and is emotional when she can't take it anymore. I was just talking to a woman earlier today. I'm not sure if you're here on the Facebook Live. She quit her job on Friday. And unfortunately, this woman has had an underperforming career because no one's really showed her the way to be more successful, to do more, and to contribute at the level that her education would allow her to. So she emotionally walked out after a series of back and forth that didn't work out. And there is no woman on this planet who should be walking out and quitting her job, ever. Never, ever. Because you need to be asserting yourself. And I'm going to answer your question. I think I saw a question come through, Paula. How do women be assertive without being interpreted as aggressive? First of all, you begin being assertive by being fully aligned with your power. And you don't have to worry about whether you're assertive or aggressive. When you own your power and your truth, you speak up in meetings appropriately. You solve problems appropriately. You have opinions and guidance and ideas that are appropriate and that fit the situation. When you're in full alignment with who you are and your soul's power, your brain works better and you're able to solve problems better, communicate better. So the answer to your question, Paula, about being assertive versus aggressive is you've got to be in your power, in your lane, in alignment, not in power like I'm in charge. I'm going to tell you which way. That's not alignment. Bossiness is not necessary to be a boss. Ooh. Write that one down. Influence does not have to come through being bossy or being aggressive. Influence comes by being confident and sure about who we are and what our ideas and opinions are, and by being a master communicator. That's how influence goes. And if you're going to play at the 100K level and above, you've got to be that person. You've got to be that level of a contributor. And if you're not at that level, if you're a worker bee, you have to raise yourself up in confidence and contribution and learn to play in the game called work with confidence so that you can have the proper influence with people and not just be, again, bottling up all your great ideas and you only share them when you have to blow. This is what I'm talking about today. Women are too emotional when we hide what we have to contribute. We shy away from contributing. We're afraid of being seen as someone who's too smart. We're afraid of being unliked. When we come from fear and don't share our thoughts and ideas, we're going to blow up and be emotional and be seen as aggressive. That is not the strategy for success. And if you look at the highest levels of success, other than the sociopaths that are out there, the highest levels of success are people who exude an amazing amount of confidence, calmness, demeanor. And that's what it takes to be successful in the world of complex human organizations. If we have too much emotion flying around, we are not going to be an influencer because people are going to be distracted by the emotions that are flying around. Now, you need to work on your alignment and your personal power and communication strategies, ladies. It is important for you to do that. And it is not something that's like, do it once and you're good. It is a constant mastery. Mastery of the self is a lifetime journey. And for those of you here who are my clients, you have learned the basics in my 12-week workshop. Keep sharpening those skills. Keep practicing. Take a to-do item and make it something better or different in your workplace. There is so much that we have to continue doing as masters of ourselves to gain a level of success. So dive into that. If we keep doing the same thing that we've been doing at a 70 or 80 or 90K level, we are not going to be shooting ourselves into a 120 plus level or a 150. If we're doing the same thing at 120 or 150, we're not going to be getting ourselves into 200K. If we keep doing the same thing at 200K, we're not going to be moving ourselves into 300 territory, etc. Do you get the point? Each level of contribution in organizations is a different playbook. You have to master the next level up. And the number one way you master the next level up and are not seen as an emotional creature is by mastering you. And that's what I'm all about with bringing your soul to work, because when you get the power of your essence, of your inherent you, that self that is timeless and ageless and beautiful and shiny and happy, that joyous version of you is your power. That's your power. I know it hasn't been explained to you as a young girl that way, or as a teen, or as a starstruck young adult, but your power is in your soul. Your power is the timeless version of you. And when you get right by that, and when you use that version of you, her, when you use her in the work world, you will not have to worry about being aggressive. You will not have to worry about being too bossy. You will be emanating a level of confidence and alignment that will influence others without you trying. And that is truth. So ladies, it's time to align with your true soulful power and stop being emotional because you're bottling it all in because you don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. Game over on that. New game. You have connection and influence because you're a powerful soul. That is the woman who's going to be more successful than today's woman. Go rock that element of who you are. Go rock the element of your truth and your alignment, and you will not have to be seen as emotional or someone who's going to blow up or have this, massive, women type of opinion. Don't be that way. Stop participating in the myth and stop participating in some of the disempowering ways that we women have been raised and programmed and conditioned in society. It's time to change the myth and to be powerful from within, communicate properly, influence, have the right power level and the right pay level that makes you feel great and desiring more. And that woman is a better mother, wife, sister, daughter, friend, and she's better when she's by herself. So you don't need all of those external people to validate how awesome you are when you're awesome from within. So fill your cup from the inside. That's how you stop being an emotional person at work. Fill your cup for yourself. Next up, what did I promise you for tomorrow? Session 2, we're going to be talking about the family time balance problem. Is it a problem? I don't know. If you're looking for more in your career and things are not working out for you and you want to take it to the next level, you're going to have to start by booking a call with me and my team. Your free career clarity call starts it all. And if you want to take yourself in your career to where you've never been before, you may have to do things that you've never done before. Right, ladies? All the clients here, please shout out a big yes. That's exactly what we need to do. Let me make sure, always get what I want due to my confidence. That's right, Debbie. Absolutely. Influence equals confidence. Right on. We'll see you tomorrow talking about family life balance. Is it a myth? We'll be checking that out. Please join the Bring Your Soul to Work Facebook group, and let's make sure there's a link here. If I can have my handy dandy assistant. There we go, Facebook group. That link there, and join that group. That's where we're going to be broadcasting the next 4 sessions on why women are still not ahead. This is Coach Mo Faul. You can grab all of the information about me and my work at mofaul.com. Everywhere on social media, Coach Mo Faul. We'll see you next time. Don't forget to book your career clarity call at www.mofaul.com/live clarity call. We'll see you next time.